Today's round 2 of the Harley Benton Vintage 30 comparison. Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name's Taylor and I do all sorts of guitar related stuff here on YouTube. If that's something you enjoy, hit the like button and consider subscribing, and ring the bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads. Today, I'm going to take a second look at the stock vintage 30s that come in a Harley Benton vertical cabinet and compare those to the vintage 30s that come in a Mesa oversized cabinet. Any of you who saw my previous videos on this know that I have a Harley Benton cabinet and I swapped out the Chinese-made vintage 30 speakers for the vintage 30 speakers that came in my Mesa oversized cabinet. And I did the best shootout I could with that cabinet, but since I was essentially miking up the cabinet, recording everything, pulling the cabinet down, pulling everything apart, putting the new speakers in it, putting it back, and then re-miking it up, there's a lot of variables that were in the way there. So what I'm gonna do today that's a little bit different is I actually have a Harley Benton cab with the stock Chinese-made vintage 30s in it, and then I have my other Harley Benton cabinet, which has the Mesa vintage 30s in it, and I'm gonna run the same signal to both of them. I'm miking both of them up with SM57s, and both of the microphones are placed in the same exact position on the cabinet. I actually got out a tape measure just to make sure that they were in the same exact position. So I'm trying to be as scientific as possible about this. By the way, if you didn't see my last video comparing the same vintage 30 speakers, I'll link that up here. So the signal chain that is running into each of these Harley Benton cabinets is my LTD Viper. It's a 256, the vintage Viper, and it's got a Seymour Duncan Invader in the bridge, and that's running into my Axe-Fx 3, and right now we're using the USA 2C++ amp, and that's all going into a Seymour Duncan Power Stage 700, and then into each of the cabinets respectively. All right, let's just start with a high gain tone. I don't know exactly how that's coming across in the video, but in the room, that sounds massive. So let's hear what it sounds like with a clean tone. So now I'm using the Brit JM45 patch. Let's see what this sounds like. This amp in the Axe-Fx 3 has a really cool edge of breakup tone, and I love it. And if you just ride the input drive right in the middle there, you can get like really nice bright cleans, and then if you strum just a little bit harder, you can just dig in and get a little bit of grit out of it. So I really enjoy this amp. So how do you guys feel about the stock vintage 30s compared to the vintage 30s that I swapped out from my Mesa? Let me know in the comments below. So to be 100% honest with you guys, and to give you like a little bit of insight as to what's going on right here, this cabinet that I'm sitting right next to is actually the stock Harley Benton cabinet, and everything that I played through it sounds really good, you know, to my ear sitting right here next to it. So much so that I'm probably not even going to put the Mesa vintage 30s into this cabinet. I might actually just put the stock vintage 30s in the other cabinet and just have two stock Harley Benton vertical cabinets. I don't know, I'm gonna have to think about this for a while. Sometimes when I'm walking around at my practice space and just kind of getting a feel for how the cabinets sound in the room with a live band, I feel like the stock Harley Benton is just a little bit harsher and doesn't sound as good around the top end. Like it just sounds a little bit thinner, whereas the Mesa Vintage 30s sound like fuller and you know, a little bit thicker sounding. And while I know that you can actually hear that in my last comparison video, it's hard to describe what it actually sounds like when you're walking around in a room with a live band. It's just a different thing, and it's really hard to articulate just kind of what exactly the differences are. But I guess the thing that I'm really considering right now, is it even worth the effort to swap out these speakers when I could probably just dial in something to compensate for that thin top end? I don't really know the answer to that question yet, so I'll have to get back to you guys on that at a later date. Anyways, that's all from me. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching my videos, and thank you guys so much for helping me reach 1,000 subscribers. I can't even really express how much that means to me and how cool that is that you guys actually comment on my videos and like them and spread them around. It's just really humbling, and I really appreciate all of you. Just thank you so much. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.